Hello, Loyd.
Hi.
Loyd Ford,
Hi.
my guest and our guest on this Lingofest session. So this is the first episode after a break, an August break. As I tell my friends, we do like the French. In August, we do nothing.
So nice.
I mean, if you go to France, you will everything is closed. But thank you, Loyd, for making the time. I do appreciate it. You are a very busy guy. I don't know how you do what you do, and we'll get to talk about what you do. But first, let me ask you, like the most obvious question to me, since that's how I got to know you. So you've been holding all these social audio Clubhouse, I think almost exclusively, maybe or maybe not. I don't know, several times a week, and they are really well done. In terms of
Thank you.
the content, in terms of the format. And it basically, for me, it feels more like a radio show. So as opposed to the other places where I go, where it's somebody's talking and it's not structured and it's not prepared, clear, not prepared the way you prepare. I mean, the way you did your interview with me when I appeared in your show, there was a lot of preparation. So I appreciate that. So anyway, so let me ask you the first question, which is, why did you decide to jump in? Are you usually an early adopter? What did you see, and why are you investing a lot of time in social audio?
Look, let's start at the beginning. I've been working in audio for my entire adult life. Okay. So let's take you back a number of years. I worked as a senior ratings strategist working with broadcast companies all across America. This is after really my programming career. And I'm working with teams in major markets and in medium-sized markets and small markets. And I reached a point in time, this is years ago, before anything like Clubhouse was ever in existence. I reached a point in time where I was like, you know what? This social media stuff is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's stupidest stuff. People are posting pictures of their meals and pictures of their puppies, and this is just really stupid. And then I realized that I'd become the old man on the lawn. Get off my lawn. And I thought, well, you can't really be in media and be the old man on the lawn. That's not correct, because the world moves on all the time and the world adapts these technologies. We've seen it, right? And so I immediately had kind of a market correction. And then I decided, no, I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to find out how to use different social media. And so I'll spare you all of that because that's such ancient history now, right? And we'll go directly to Clubhouse. And before we get to Clubhouse, a lot of people who know me from radio don't know that my consulting practice has actually been around since 2007. And the reason for that's pretty simple, and it kind of marries into this Clubhouse thing that we're talking about. I didn't want to consult radio. So in '07, when we opened up Rainmaker Pathway Consulting Works, we did things like we worked on an app for the concert industry. We launched television shows in markets, in different markets in the U.S. And we worked with coaching of television personalities because they do an awful lot of things that are based on teleprompter. But social media is not like that. So we work with them on content strategy so that they have something that's compelling to engage people with, right? Well, life speeds along. And that thing that I said, I'm never going to do this. I'm never, ever going to consult radio stations. Well, when you use the word never, you often have to eat it. So I had to eat the whole meal, and I did. I launched in April 2020, which is, you may recognize, as the height of the beginning of the pandemic. We all thought would last 2 weeks, and look, here we are still dealing with all of it in quite a mystery, right? Well, so then comes Clubhouse, and I guess I got an invite from somebody, and I saw it, and of course I'm dealing with radio clients all across the U.S., and I immediately saw Clubhouse as an extension of things that my clients could be doing with listeners, because keeping up with listeners and being engaged and involved in listeners is a powerful thing, and we'll talk about that a little bit if you want to. But let me just say that I started to experiment with Clubhouse, and those people that like to sleep late in the morning. You know these people, right? I'm not one of those people. Do you know those people that like to go to bed early at night or stay up late at night? I'm not any of those people. If I could choose option number 3, never sleep ever, I would do that. So I end up on Clubhouse, and I'm just like everybody else trying to figure out, how does this work? They say this is the social media audio drop-in app. Okay, it's right on your smartphone. And so I thought, all right, well, I'll experiment with it and see what it's like, and I end up in this club late at night. That's what they call their groups on Clubhouse. And I end up on stage talking to this guy in Taiwan. And I'm like, this is the craziest thing ever. Here we are talking in real time. I thought, well, this is really interesting. And I wanted to experience talking with people on Clubhouse to see what the audio was like and see what the challenges were like. And then the moderator brings another person up onto the stage. And if you don't know how Clubhouse works, that's a part of the thing. You can raise your hand. There's a little button. You can raise your hand. And if the moderator wants, he can bring you up to the stage. Well, this person brought John Mayer up to the stage, the singer. And he said, you mind if I just sing a few songs? And of course we were like, no, we're good. Go ahead. And so he sang 4 or 5 songs. It was incredible. Wow. And I thought, this is the power of what this is. It's right now, So there's lots of things that radio can do with this.
And it was unexpected, right?
Oh,
totally unexpected.
Totally unexpected. And that's a big part of what the Clubhouse folks want people to understand, is that unexpected things can happen on the Clubhouse app. It's really an intimate setting, but it can grow rather large too. And so, you ask, why did I start this? Well, all right. There's a couple of reasons. One, I knew from my programming career that I had some basic gifts. You talk about people who have gifts, and I have very few, but here they are. Okay, I have strategy, behavior, and aggressiveness. Now, in my programming career, especially when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was seen as very aggressive, and that's what people would see, and that's the only thing people would see. When I decided to open my consulting practice, I wanted to use what is a fundamental gift that I have, which is encouragement. And we've had such a crunchy nature in the media business with consolidation for 30 years. And I just looked around and I thought, where's the place where people can be encouraged? And so I said, okay, well, I want my consulting practice to be a part of that, because who doesn't need encouragement? And then I saw Clubhouse and I thought, oh, I'm sorry, this is Pandora's box. We're going to open this thing up and see if we can do encouragement. So I got together with a lady named Heather Froglier, and she works at K-Frog in Riverside, San Bernardino, California. And we came up with this concept that we get on and we just talk to each other like everybody does on Clubhouse. Well, we did that for a dry run on Sunday. And when we got off of there, she was like, I thought that was great, And my wife asked me, she goes, what did you think? And I said, it's disastrous. And she goes, why? And I go, I realized something important. We didn't format this. And so here's what we did. I designed up a format. I sent it to Heather. I said, what do you think of this? And she very gracefully said, yes, let's do this. And so every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, she brings a radio person, I bring a radio person, and we interview those people about their life, their career, how they see radio now, why they're grateful to be in radio, how you get ahead in radio. It's encouragement for radio. And you mentioned that we do 2 a week, and it's true. So on Wednesdays, I decided to do something a little even more fun for me. I think that innovation is incredibly hard. And I also think that we are in the innovation century. That's where we are. So if you look back in time, you see the Industrial Revolution. Okay, that was very hard for people because they had to come to the cities and give up the farms and had to figure out, well, how are we going to make a living and how's this going to work? It's a big, scary time. Well, flash forward to now, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a big, scary time. Only now it's technology. And technology is moving so fast, right, that people are afraid. Okay, and it's not just the radio industry. There's consolidation everywhere. There's so much pressure. There's so much, the world is global now. Okay, technology is global now. You know, there's a lot of fear in the water. And we felt like, you know what, let's do some encouragement. And I especially wanted to do encouragement around innovation, because that's a big part of what my consulting practice is getting people to feel no fear with innovation. And so we came up with the idea of innovation in audio, which of course brought me directly to you, which is great, right? And so every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, I have a partner for this, and he is with WBLS and Hot 97 in New York City. His name is Skip Dillard. He brings a radio person to this event, but I do not. I bring somebody from what I call the innovation corridor, somebody that is undeniably dealing with innovation every single day of their career path in their life. And it's really interesting, and it involves encouragement.
Tell me, encouragement. So, who are you encouraging and why? What does it mean for you to encourage? I mean, somebody who is who needs to be just given a go for it, do it, and what does it mean? Encouragement is I think is a complex word, and I just want to know what you mean by it in your context.
You know what? Encouragement is powerful and simple, right? Nobody does anything alone. You can feel alone, of course, and technology today, you feel even more alone. You're more connected than ever, and you can feel more alone than ever. And in the broadcast industry, let's just start right there, okay? I love these people who are making a living creating emotion, creating connection, creating companionship on radio. These are my people. I love them. They're some of the best people anywhere. And look, they need encouragement just like you do. I mean, you might hear somebody on the radio and think, wow, that morning show person is the most incredible person. And you don't know what their life is like behind the screen, right? I always tell people, be kinder than you have to be. You don't know what people are dealing with. And you're more influential than you think you are. So it's not always the people that are going to tell you, oh, you made a difference in my life. There are people that you made a huge difference in their life, but you don't know it. It's your influence, your power of influence. I'm going to use mine. And I'm going to use this fourth gift, and I've decided to move it up front, because I think along with being in the innovation century, along with all the fear and the crunchiness of media, the crunchiness of the world right now, the world needs encouragement. And so to that end, I want to encourage everybody, right? My practice is not limited just to radio.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think there's a lot of gratitude that is not given to folks who deserve it, right?
Yes.
A lot of people are taken for granted, and I think whenever I see someone go out of their way to thank me or thank someone from my team, I tell them that they are special in that action, that not everybody is doing that, and that they should do more of that.
It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And anybody who's watching this, look, don't just let me do it. Join. Do it. You don't have to join me. Create your own tribe of encouragement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is, is when you do go out of your way and you thank somebody, you feel good too, right?
Yes.
It's not like you are taking a piece. It's not a zero-sum game. Actually, it energizes you.
It's a little selfish, right? Because you feel good.
You do feel good. We are built like that, right? We are built to, and yet folks don't do it often enough.
Right.
I think it's just like everything else. We just get caught up in whatever we're doing and we just get into that.
We're busy.
We're busy, right? But I think there is something huge here, and I'm glad that you have an actual weekly clubhouse that has encouragers, right? What's the exact?
The encouragers on Clubhouse. Yes.
On Clubhouse. So that's if I guarantee you, a lot of people who are scrolling the hallway when they see the encouragers, they're like, I wanna check it out because it's so positive. A word,
I hope so. I think when people discover this, and I think that people think that people get into social media and they think, oh, I'm going to be famous and I'm going to do. No. People are busy. I'll tell you a secret. People are selfish.
Yeah.
They're busy. They're selfish. And for those reasons, they're not going to discover you doing something amazing on Clubhouse, or they're not, it takes consistency.
Yep.
and a will and a vision and the ability to do it no matter what. This is my tribe.
Well said. So we've spoken a couple of times, and in both times you stress the importance of data in what you do. Collecting data, analyzing data, taking your time with data, digging deep. Tell me more about that. I think people talk, they talk a lot about the importance of data, and this is big data and so forth, and very few people or companies actually do something concrete with that beyond surface stuff. But you take it a lot more seriously than that. So tell the folks.
This goes
how much. Yep. Go ahead.
This goes back to the 4 fundamental gifts, right? I mean, this is not something that I deserve any credit for. This just happens to me. It's part of my character and personality. I look at everything as strategy. So programming radio stations back in the 90s, okay? I would look at data back then. So back then, there wasn't as much data, certainly, as there is now. Today, we use music research, several different kinds of music research, right? We use station monitoring data. We have all kinds of data at our fingertips, streaming data. What are people streaming? We have all this data. And so basically, at Rainmaker Pathway Consulting Works, we have set up a data process in which we can look to get as close to what consumers want as possible. And believe me, you can go your own way. You can do that. Maybe you'll be all right. Maybe you'll be all right for a little while. Eventually, you're going to drift off. And it's not going to be to a dream either. It's going to be to a nightmare, okay? Because Ray Charles used to say this all the time. It's one of my favorite quotes. The people are never wrong. They're never wrong. So our quest, and look, it's our quest in radio, but you can take this anywhere. If you have a product, if you want to develop a brand, right? What's important? It's important that you understand what consumers want and what they want from your brand. What's the expectation? What is it that makes you unique and special and different and coveted? It's important.
Yeah. So
use data to do that.
So definitely, in the 90s, there was a lot less data than now, obviously, right?
Yes.
And so now there's the sort of the reverse problem, which is there's so much data. So how do you navigate? How do you know what is important? How do you sift through all the sea of data points that you have at your disposal?
What a great question. I work with a number of broadcasters, and one of the major broadcaster companies in America, they have stopped getting some data for programmers because they feel like it's information overload. And I do feel like that's important, that you have a good barometer for understanding how much data is too much, because you can really get in the weeds, right? This is a business about humans and human behavior. That takes me to number 2, behavior, right? And so I'm most interested in the highest data points that I can find that are attributable to current on-the-ground behavior. And once I reach a certain level, you got to let the rest go, because otherwise you will end up in the weeds and it'll get in your head. And then you'll become indecisive, or you'll make decisions that you later wish you hadn't made.
Yeah. Let me just push a little bit on that. Do you come with hypotheses and say, I think my gut says this, let me see if I can confirm or falsify it, or do you look for patterns in the data, given that there's so much data, right, about the listeners and so on?
Well, I tell clients all the time this, and I don't know if this will work for you, but this might be a sort of an interesting way to dial this question in for you. I tell them, I don't look for everything, right? I do what the Secret Service does. And whenever I do that, they go, wait, what do you mean you do what the Secret Service does? And I go, well, you're at an event with the president, right? I mean, we all kind of can imagine that scenario. You're a Secret Service agent. You're there with the president. You know, you think that they're looking for assassins, right? They got to be looking for assassins. They don't. You know what they look for? What doesn't fit in here? What doesn't look right? That's what we look for in data. And so it's not about, for instance, with music, for me, okay, there's so many people that think, oh, I can pick the hits, I can pick the hits. I love competitors who say that. I love them because really, if they could pick the hits, right, wouldn't they be the president of Sony Music who cannot pick the hits? He can't pick the hits. He spends $2 million, $3 million to find out he doesn't have something. Why wouldn't you just get the guy that can pick the hits? Easy.
So
right?
What do you do? What do you do instead of picking the hits?
I look for what doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
So we use data, okay? We use data to eliminate suspects. So all the record companies, they come forward with their music. Their desire, which is not wrong, it's their business, is to get radio to play all their songs so they can figure out which one is a hit. Because they only need one or two hits. They can make a lot of money. They can launch a small industry off of that, off of a hit artist, right? But in order to get there, they have to do lots of experimentation. You talk about people who are dealing with innovation. Look at these record companies. They know. They're dealing with innovation every day. It's hard. You fail, right? They fail a lot.
Yep.
Okay? But that's not the important part. The important part is when you succeed, it's a party, right?
And it sort of pays off for all the failures. If you
Correct.
Do that, right?
Correct.
Right.
It totes the note, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So on our side, for me, at Rainmaker Pathway, we look for what doesn't fit in. We look to prove a song is not a hit. And we try to do that before it airs, which is really incredibly hard. Okay?
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
I do think there's such a thing as being a gatekeeper, but largely speaking, once songs begin to accelerate in airplay, there is data that supports this is a hit or this is not a hit. We get paid for playing the hits.
Yeah.